Little Women, I think, was the first story that portrayed women as human, as real beings that made mistakes, and also real artistic characters that were in that time, which was not, that's not how women were viewed back then. And I remember when my gran read it to me, how important it was for her to read it as a child, and for her to read it to my mum, and then for my mum, to study it. It's important because it still holds that slither of what it was to be a woman back then, and how we are still facing, things like that of now, no matter how old you are or when you've read it. The most important thing for me about this version that I fell in love with straight away was that everybody's perception of Amy is that she's the sour one, I suppose, in the family that is spoiled, and she has everything and she gets what she wants. And I think what I loved about this is that you really get to see her brilliance, and her sensitive side, and how complicated and human she is. And actually, are we more a little bit like Amy rather than everyone wanting to be like Jo, which is what I thought was quite beautiful about it, really. The sisterly bond is everything. That's the whole book. That's the whole storyline. It highlights what it is to be a sister in that time or this time. They love each other, they hate each other, they talk over the top of one another, they kiss each other, they cry for each other. And it's something that obviously people revisit, decades apart, whether it's your gran that read it to you, or your mum, or your sister. It's relevant to any age because it's consistent and it's real. Greta didn't want the girls to be in the format that they usually are. She didn't want it to be a classical way of talking, and she didn't want us to be, enjoying our space too much. She wanted it to be like sisters. So if you're with a group of girls and you haven't seen them in a while, you're all talking over the top of one another, and there is no time for you to wait, and there is no time for you to listen to what they actually said until you've realised whilst you're doing something else 4 minutes later that they said that. And I think that was what was really wicked about Greta. She, from the get-go, she was like, these are girls. Doesn't matter where they are or when they were born. These are tight girls that are incredibly intelligent and so creative, and they're not going to be standing in their position to finish their line and then wait for their sister to talk. That's not how sisters work. And so from the get-go, like most of our focus has been on the language and how we can make that as relevant and as normal as possible, and making it constantly flow. It's a constant song, and you're never waiting for a line, you're talking over the top. And that's what's made doing the scene so thrilling. And I think that's the one main kind of major alteration that I've loved about Greta's kind of modern look on it. It's always very scary coming onto projects like this with that caliber of cast, or just the novel or the storyline. And she just from the get-go wanted to just messy it up and make it comfortable for us, and make sure that, we weren't always in our costumes, that we're half dressed, or that we're, getting out of bed, or, she really wanted to make this as authentic and as real as possible. And that's so fun to have a director that just wants to not have it perfect. And from that, it's created such, beautiful shots and such wonderful crescendo of scenes that's completely down to her. And she's very generous with everything, with her time, with her vision, with her ability to listen and change and help you. And that only creates a free space.
Hey, it's Lisa. Now, the Emmys are pretty much the Oscars for television. Winning an Emmy is the biggest award an actor can win for their work on the small screen. Here are the top 3 winners. At number 3, Mary Tyler Moore with 7 wins and 15 nominations. At number 2, Cloris Leachman with 8 wins and 22 nominations. And coming in at number 1 is Julia Louis-Dreyfus with 11 wins and 24 nominations. Now, do you like my t-shirt? You can get one for yourself and the link in the description.